This is Bishop Dale Bronner. Thank you so much for joining our YouTube channel today. If this is a blessing to you, I want to encourage you to like it and then click the subscribe button and then turn on notification. Hit that little notification bell so that you never ever miss another one of our videos. And then if you're in the Metro Atlanta area on a Sunday, check out one of our exhilarating services at 8:30 a.m., 11 a.m., or 6 o'clock p.m.
If you would turn with me in your Bibles, Joshua chapter 14. Joshua chapter 14. This is the same Joshua that fought the battle of Jericho. Beginning with verse 6 down through verse 13, reading from the New Living Translation. Notice there these words. A delegation from the tribe of Judah led by Caleb, son of Jephunneh, the Kenizzite, came to Joshua at Gilgal. And Caleb said to Joshua, "Remember what the Lord said to Moses, the man of God, about you and me when we were at Kadesh Barnea? I was 40 years old when Moses, the servant of the Lord, sent me from Kadesh Barnea to explore the land of Canaan. I returned and gave an honest report, but my brothers who went with me frightened the people from entering the promised land. For my part, I wholeheartedly followed the Lord my God. So that day Moses solemnly promised me, the land of Canaan on which you were just walking will be your grant of land and that of your descendants forever, because you wholeheartedly followed the Lord my God. Now, as you can see, the Lord has kept me alive and well as he promised for all these 45 years since Moses made this promise, even while Israel wandered in the wilderness. Today I am 85 years old. I am as strong now as I was when Moses sent me on that journey, and I can still travel and fight as well as I could then. So give me the hill country that the Lord promised me. You will remember that as scouts, we found the descendants of Anak living there in great walled towns. But if the Lord is with me, I will drive them out of the land, just as the Lord said." So Joshua blessed Caleb, son of Jephunneh, and gave Hebron to him as his portion of land. I'm speaking today simply from the subject, give me my mountain. Give me my mountain. These are the words of Caleb, the son of Jephunneh. There is something that is extremely empowering about a prophetic promise. Something that is empowering about a vision. Something that is empowering about a dream. And this man had a promise. It gave him a dream. And he had held on to it for 45 years. That's a long time to be believing God for something. But he held on for 45 years. And now he's 85 years old. And he's ready to cash in on the promise that was made to him. And let me just remind you of this. You are only as old as your latest dream. There's something about dreaming that keeps you young when you have something to still work for. When you have something to still look forward to. You got to always keep something in front of you no matter how old you are. You got to have something that you're looking forward to. It could be just going to the family reunion. It could be going on a special vacation somewhere. But I want us to learn and understand some things about this young man by the name of Caleb. The name Caleb means bold. The name Caleb, it means impetuous. It means that he's a go-getter. So you got to be bold to want to take a mountain at 85 years old. You know, most people, if they wait for 45 years later, what they were chasing at 45 years earlier, they don't even want it now. But Caleb was different. Caleb said, I still want my mountain. I heard what he said. He said, if you're going to do this, he said, this land is going to be yours. And this was not just any land. This was the land of giants. See, what scared most of them, they said they're giants and we are as grasshoppers in their eyes. Caleb, whose name means bold, impetuous, he says, give me my mountain. I want the land of the giants. And he says, I'm just bold enough to believe that God can empower me to go in and dispossess them so I can possess it. He's 85 years old. He's still a warrior. Caleb said, I'm just as strong now as I was 45 years ago. I want to find out what he was eating. I want to know what his exercise routine was, because he's now 85 years old. He said, I'm just as strong now, and I can travel as well now and fight as well now. I don't know about you, but that gives me hope. I mean, Lord, you're not a respecter of person. What in the world made Caleb such an interesting man that 45 years down the road, he's still as strong as he was at 85 as what he was at 40? And now he's saying, God, give me my mountain. Give me my mountain. He's, when you got a promise, I'm just telling you, if somebody said, if you lived a certain length of lifetime, I got this money waiting on you. And when you know you got a promise, you have to understand money in that day was measured in land. Whoever owned the land, those were the rich folks. The rich folks were landowners. You measured your wealth in that day by the land. Because old folks used to say, God ain't making no more land. God ain't making, you better hold on to it. God ain't making no more land. So this man wanted land. He had an inheritance. This was like a jackpot. And jackpots don't diminish over time. The thing had grown, and so its value had grown even over time. And this wasn't just any kind of land. This was the land where giants walked. And Caleb said, that's what Moses promised to me, because I wholeheartedly followed the Lord. I want what he promised to me. I'm 85 years old. I'm just as strong now. I can travel as well now. And not only can I travel as well, I can fight just as well now at 85 as what I could fight at 40. To me, that tells me that he knew how to fight smart at 40 years old, if you can still fight as well at 85. And so, whatever, you have to realize this. Caleb, he's the son of Jephunneh. The name Jephunneh means this: he that beholds. He that beholds. His daddy's name means he that beholds. If you're the son of somebody who beholds stuff, that means his daddy was a looker. His daddy was a noticer. And now for 45 years, the son of he who beholds had been looking at the land of the giants. He'd been looking at this land for 45 years. For 45 years. That's why he didn't grow old, because he was looking at something that was pulling him to a promise that was ahead of him. When you look at something that has a promise of God in it, I don't care how long it takes. And see, now, if folks haven't received their promotion in 6 months, they want to have a pity party. Put in a little time. Put in a little time. 45 years he waited for the promise. 45 years, not 45 days, not 45 weeks, 45 years. It took. If you're going to inherit something that's going to be great, see, you have to understand, the bigger that the plane is, the longer the runway is. Little planes can take off on a short runway. But if you get a jumbo jet, it needs a long runway. And when God is building something that's going to be jumbo in your life, this man was going after the land of giants. This was not the land of peepsqueaks. This is the land of giants. And he's the son of he that beholds, the one that's on the lookout for opportunities. I hope that you realize that God has taken us on a prophetic journey. And sometimes as God drops messages in my spirit, I don't even realize how prophetic it is until I look back. Because 2 weeks ago, I was sharing with you about the open door opportunity. Remember that? Open door opportunity. Open door opportunity. And last week we talked about field of dreams. And this week, give me my mountains. From a man whose daddy's name was he that beholds, who's on the lookout for opportunities, and who's got a dream that is pulling him for 45 years, empowering him. so that he does not become discouraged over this time. And he's walking around, and now he's 85 years old and says, give me my land. I want my promise. Give me my mountains. Give me my mountains. I want the hill land of where the giants roam. That's what I want. Give me the land of the giants. So see, here's the deal. Whatever obtains and maintains your attention will ultimately change your life. Just think about that. For young men, I mean, if a young woman obtains his attention, and if she maintains his attention, she will ultimately change his life. The same works the other way. If a young man obtains a woman's attention and maintains the attention, he will ultimately change her life. Whatever obtains and maintains your attention, it will change your life. Be it a philosophy, a belief system, be it a business idea, whatever obtains and maintains your attention will ultimately change your life. Because you become what you behold. You become what you behold. Caleb is the son of one who beholds. But then he was named bold, impetuous, courageous one, who wasn't afraid to go after what he saw. There are some people that said, oh man, I see her, but you know, man, she too fine. She ain't gonna pay me any attention. And they won't even go after her. But Caleb was like, I ain't got nothing to lose. I ain't got her now. I'm gonna holler at her. Caleb saw her and he had the boldness to go up and say, see, he was bold. He didn't just see the opportunity, he seized the opportunity. And so the land of the giants got his attention. It obtained his attention, and it maintained his attention for 85 years. And whatever obtains and maintains your attention will ultimately change your life. It'll ultimately change your life. And what mountain is in your view that you want to possess? What you looking at? What are you looking at? What's got your attention? What's got your attention? What's got your attention? I didn't ask what's distracting you from what is meaningful and important, because you walk around with a digital distraction in your hand available, buzzing and notifying you about stuff that doesn't make any difference on Snapchat, on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, and it makes no difference. It's not going to change your life and enrich your life. It can wait. You need to put your distractions on a schedule. Somebody just got their word for the day right there. Just put it on a schedule. Because what are you looking at? What are you looking at that matters and that will matter down the road? Because whatever obtains your attention and maintains your attention will ultimately change your life. It'll change your life. What are you beholding? Remember, he's the son of he that beholds. What are you looking at? What are you beholding? And what are you willing to wholeheartedly follow all of your life in order to possess? And here's the thing that I want to impress on you. Always keep something in front of you that you are looking forward to experience, to enjoy, or to possess. Always keep something in front of you that you are looking forward to experience, to enjoy, or to possess. Who wants to live life and you never have anything to look forward to? It's just the same old, same old. You get up and go to work. You come home. You watch TV. You open your mail. You read your mail. You check your email. You prepare your dinner. You help the children with their homework. You go to bed. You get up the next day. For God's sake, have some. There's got to be more to life than routine. Have something that breaks the routine of your life to look forward to. I don't care whether it's once a month, once a quarter, once every 6 months, once a year. Have something that makes you look forward to it. I mean, you ought to be so excited that you start packing 2 weeks ahead of time. You know, next summer when I take that trip now, I'm going to look so cute in this. Have something that moves you, that breaks the ordinary and the routine in your life, that says, hey, you know, these children are about to drive me up the wall, but on Friday night, we going out on the town. We're going to paint the town red. You need to have Friday nights or Saturday nights or whenever your night is. I mean, if it's a Monday night, whatever your off day is, find something to give you something to look forward to. Look forward to it. Look forward to it. You have to plant surprises in your life so that you don't grow accustomed to the ordinary. And you fall in love with the dull, the boring, the insipid of life. Find something that when you think about it, you get excited. We got 3 more weeks, and you just go and look at your tickets again. Just read the email again. You check over your itinerary. Get your sunglasses out and just start laying your stuff. I have something that puts excitement and pep in your step and brings a smile to your face. I mean, even if it's just going back home and visiting folks that you hadn't seen in a long time. It doesn't have to be something fancy, but it ought to be something that breaks the routine of life. Always keep something in front of you that you're looking forward to experience, to enjoy, or to possess. Something that you're looking forward to. Keep something that you're looking forward to. And at 85 years of age, Caleb declared to Joshua that he desired the hill country where the giants had been seen. And he was confident in the power of God that God would be able to deliver that tough territory to him. And this promise was a promise that Moses gave to Caleb. And it built hope in him. It built hope within him. And he carried that hope. That hope carried him for 45 years. And here's the deal. I want you to understand this unequivocally. When hope is born, action will invariably follow. When hope is born, action will invariably follow. You need to always keep something that births hope in you. Because when hope is born, action will invariably follow. I got hope that she will say yes this time. I got hope that he will notice me this time. And if you hope that he will notice you, you get your eyelashes put on. I'm just telling you, when hope is born, action will invariably follow. Action will invariably follow. Action will invariably follow. If you got hope that he will notice you and you don't get your lashes, you're just faking. But when you hope for something, action will invariably follow. I hope he'll notice me. I hope I get the job. If I hope I get the job, I'm going to be ready to start work come Monday. If they ask me, can I start tomorrow? Absolutely. No, I don't have to get anything. No, I can be here at 7:30 in the morning. Because when hope is born, action will invariably follow. I understand when people have real hope because hope creates expectancy, and expectancy causes preparation. So that's why when you live with the hope that this thing is going to happen, action will follow. People who tell you that they have hope for something and they don't have any action, they're faking. Because when hope is born, action will invariably follow. And I want you to realize the promise, the dream that Caleb had kept Caleb young. You got to have a dream. You got to have something that keeps you young. Because remember, he said he was still strong and young and able to fight just as well at 85 as he was at 40. And I want you to realize this. Caleb didn't have a bucket list. He had a promise. We fall in love with the people of the world talking about a bucket list. No. A bucket. Kick the bucket is about dying. A promise is about living. He didn't have a bucket list. He had a promise list. He didn't have a bucket list. He had a promise list. A promise list. In other words, I'd like to say it this way. Caleb had a very promising future. He had a very promising future. He had a promise that he was going to inherit the land of giants. And so Caleb identified the mountain that he wanted to take. It wasn't just any mountain. It was a particular mountain on which they had seen the giants of Anak. He wanted a particular mountain. Here's the deal. You cannot possess what you do not perceive. You cannot possess what you do not perceive. What are you looking at? What are you beholding? You cannot possess what you do not perceive. You cannot possess an opportunity that you don't perceive. You cannot possess a relationship that you cannot perceive. You cannot possess a dream that you cannot perceive. You cannot possess a promise that you cannot perceive. Have you identified the mountain that you would need to conquer yet? Have you identified the mountain that you need to conquer yet? I mean, what is your mountain? Your mountain could be some new opportunity that's presented to you. It might be a love mountain. It may be something about love. The mountain that you might need to conquer might be a mountain of fear. What is your mountain? Have you identified your mountain? It might be a mountain of rejection. And until you deal with rejection, you can't even possess things until you conquer the mountain of rejection, because they're not going to like me. I'm not good enough. I don't have the right credentials. It might be procrastination. Procrastination might be your mountain. It might be your mountain. It might be an addiction. It might be weight problems, health issues. It can be a relationship. Your mountain might be money. But how are you going to conquer your mountain? Have you identified it? You got to identify what your mountain is. It could be lust. It could be anger. It could be greed. And listen, here's the deal. For some people, the mountain that you need to conquer is not the enemy without, but the enemy within. Sometimes the mountain that you need to conquer is self. Because you get in your own way more than anybody else. Sometimes the mountain that you need to conquer is the mountain of self. You know the great explorer, Sir Edmund Hillary? He said, it is not the mountain that we conquer, but ourselves. It's not the mountain that we conquer, but ourselves. When you go mountain climbing, you don't learn the mountain, you learn things about you. Problems in your life reveal issues that are on the inside of you. It's not the mountain we conquer, but ourselves. Sometimes what you need to conquer is you. You know, there are some people that want to climb up the mountain just so they can turn around and raise their hands and tell people, look at me, so the world can see you. You don't climb a mountain so the world can see you. You climb a mountain so you can see the world. Climb the mountain so you can see the world. Forget about the world seeing you. It's so that you can see the world. Because what you see impacts you. And what you see changes you. And what you see empowers you. Forget about being seen. See the world. Climb the mountain so it gives you a perspective of life. Most of us can't get a proper perspective of things because we're too low down, struggling in the problem. But if you can ever get above it, then you begin to realize these children grow up after a while. But when you're changing diapers and children are spitting up on your clothes, dirting up your house, tearing up stuff, marking on your walls, you don't feel like this stage will ever end. And that's why you need older people, grandmas, grandpas that are saying, baby, this will pass. They're gonna grow out of that. They ain't babies long. See, they're up on the mountain. And they've got a different perspective of something that's about to wear you out, where you are. And their perspective gives you strength. Their perspective gives you strength. C.S. Lewis said that you're never too old to set another goal or to dream a new dream. You're never too old. You're never too old. Remember, Caleb was 85. But I do want to be honest with you. Climbing or taking a mountain makes you tired, vulnerable, and exposed. Climbing a mountain or taking a mountain makes you tired, vulnerable, and exposed. Have you ever wondered why so many people are average? Another word for average is the word mediocre. You know what the word mediocre means? The word mediocre literally means middle of the rock. Mediocre. It's the middle of the rock. It's a person who's climbing a mountain and they get halfway up and then they can look out and see stuff and they said, this is good enough. Why should I climb to the top? I can see just fine from here. And they become satisfied down at a lower level and said, I've already made it. I'm halfway here. I can see the whole town. And you don't know what else you could see if you get to a higher elevation. If you go to the top, not only can you see the town, you might be able to see 5 surrounding states. And what happens though, mediocre, average people are middle of the rock people that climb up a distance and then they say, this is good enough. And they start settling. And the only reason that you settle is because you haven't identified your mountain to know what your prophetic promise looks like. Because when you compare what God said to you with what you're seeing middle of the rock, the picture doesn't match. But when you get to a certain point, I've been at a point where you can look out and see 7 states. 7 states, because I didn't settle for staying down there. I said, you know what? If it looks that good down here, what would it look like if I go up just a little? I mean, rest if you must, but don't quit. Catch your breath so you can keep climbing and see the view that will change you forever. Because once you see what is available, you can never unsee it. Somebody touch somebody and say, give me my mountain, give me my mountain, give me my mountain. Don't you dare stop in the middle of the rock. Give me my mountain, give me my mountain, give me my mountain. May I just remind you of this, that the best view comes after the hardest climb. The best view comes after the hardest climb. The best view comes after the hardest climb. Give me my mountain. Mountains are like distinct moments in our lives. Like our wedding, it's a mountain. It's a mountaintop experience. Like the birth of our children, it's a mountaintop experience. Like an achieved goal, it's a mountaintop experience. Like a fulfilled dream, it's a mountaintop experience. Mountains are distinct experience. Now here's the deal. You're not made to live on the mountain. You got to go back to the valley. You wonder why you can't just have these wonderful euphoric experiences and just live up here and everything is always hunky-dory. It is because the valley calls. You go to the mountains to get perspective, but then you go back to the valley because our work is in the valley. God's going to empower you on the mountain. He will strengthen you on the mountain. He will give you perspective on the mountain, but the valley calls. Somebody needs you down in the valley. Am I helping anybody today? I just want you to say that when God says, give me my mountain, when he says, give me my mountain, there's a mountain for you because God wants to bring you on a mountain and give you a spiritual experience. But Moses wasn't designed to live on Mount Sinai. In the valley called, it was called Egypt. It was called social justice. It was an issue, and even though he was up on the mountain and he pulled off his shoes and he realized I'm on holy ground and he saw a sight that he had never seen, a bush that was on fire and yet it wasn't consumed. But the valley called. And he says, go back. Go back to Moses. Go back to Pharaoh. Go back. Because these moments, when you're on the mountain, these are moments that take your breath away. When you stand in awe of the goodness of God. It is in these times that you're encouraged in your dream to reach high and to let your imagination just run wild and to see that anything could happen with Jesus Christ. And you will just discover that when you're on a mountain, that genius is found in unusual places. Genius is found in unusual places. You don't ever know what God can do in a place. But valleys are very distinct moments too. Though the climb is tough. A valley is a very distinct place. And many times the valley will take your breath away too, but in a total different way. It'll knock the wind out of you. When you're in a valley, in a low place, and you'll deal with anxiety and fear, and wondering, will everything be okay? But in our valley experience, we are challenged to hold on to hope when you're in your valley. In your valley experience, you are challenged to push through your feelings. In your valley experience, you are challenged to trust that God is good, even when life is not. That God is still good. So whenever you're in a valley experience, you're challenged to hold on to hope. Remember, hope invariably is followed by action. And you're challenged to push through your feelings, and you're challenged to trust that God is good, even when you have circumstances that don't look like God is good. And just remember that mountains give us perspectives, but valleys mature us. Mountains give us perspective, but valleys mature us. And we go into the mountains to lose our mind. And then we find our soul. We find our soul. You don't just inherit a mountain, there is a process. You don't just inherit it. The first is called the promise. Remember, Caleb had a promise that he carried for 45 years. It gives you hope, and hope spurs action. And then there is the process. That is faithfully serving during the waiting time. And here's the deal. The process almost always includes problems. That's what breaks most people. The process includes problems. You don't just inherit a mountain. There's the promise. There's the process that will introduce you to problems that you had not banked on. Problems that you don't feel equipped to handle. But you got a promise, and you're going through process. And then there is the provision, the inheriting of the promise. So it's a process here. The promise, the process, the provision. Now, in this whole thing, it's like you're going to the gym to work out. And so your gym is where I just say to you, get your mountain. That's what gym means, G-Y-M. Get your mountain. Get your mountain. Get your mountain. Get the rock. Get your mountain. Get your mountain. Get your mountain. In order to get your mountain, you got to be hungry, be humble, be honest. But get your mountain. Go to the gym. Get your mountain. Be hungry. You got to be hungry for this thing. You got to be humble about it. Because God exalts the humble. He lifts them up to the mountain. And the folks who already think that they all that in a bag of chips, he ends up bringing them down. That's why I said be hungry, be humble, be honest. Be honest. You got to be bold. You know, remember now, 6 times it was recorded that Caleb he fully followed the Lord. 6 times the Bible says Caleb fully followed the Lord. That's not an accident. You don't just inherit stuff when you do what you want to do. No. Part of the blessing of this recompense of reward that came into Caleb's life is it said 6 times he fully followed the Lord. The giants in the land didn't intimidate Caleb because he was bold. Instead, they motivated him. And here's the lesson, is that when you can't do something at the current moment, don't be intimidated by it, be motivated by it. If you can't do something at the current moment, don't be intimidated by it, be motivated by it. You see somebody else do something, you admire that, you say, I can't do this right now. Don't just say, no, I can't do this, I'll never be able to. No. Be motivated by it. Say, you know what, if I practice every day, I wonder how long it took them to be able to get to a point where they could do that. Don't be intimidated by something that you can't do right now. Be motivated by it. Be motivated by it. Notice in Numbers chapter 13, verse 30. Then Caleb quieted the people before Moses. Caleb was a leader. And he said, let us go up at once and take possession, for we are well able to overcome it. This man was addicted to optimism. He was not a scary cat. He was impetuous. He was bold. He was aggressive. He quieted the people and said, listen, I know there are giants in the land, but we are well able to go up at once and take possession, but we're well able to overcome it. And just remember this, that every next level of your life, hear me carefully, every next level of your life will require a new you. Your next level can't operate with how you used to be in high school. Your next level of life will require a new you, a new understanding, a new maturity, a new compassion, a new problem-solving capacity. Every next level of your life will require a new you. And the Bible talks about how Caleb had a different spirit in him. There are 3 choices that determine the condition of your spirit. Can I share them with you? I was going to share them anyway. You choose the perspective with which you define life's events. Choose the perspective with which you define life's events. Choose the perspective with which you define life's events. There are some people that get fired from a job and their whole perspective is, oh, poor me, they didn't do me right. Maybe they were releasing you into your destiny and provoking you into finding gifts and talents. I'm just telling you, choose the perspective with which you define life's event. She quit me. She told me I want her tight. They prepared you for the next person that will really be the one that will bless your life in a wonderful way. Let me just tell you this. Every time that you go through a bitter experience in life that makes you cry, in all of your tears, guess what? They taste salty. And the salt is to flavor the next thing that you will cook. You have no seasoning until you cried about it. Take your tears and season the next thing that God is going to serve up in your life. I'm just telling you, if you're going to have a different spirit, you got to say that what happened to me back then is making me now where I'll be able to enjoy this relationship. What I learned from old Bubba back here, what I learned from Helen over here. Oh my God, I got some stuff. This one is not going to be bland because I know how to do this thing now. The other one didn't have any flavor, but this one, I'm going to enjoy this meal like I never enjoyed, because I don't know about you, but salt makes it better. I don't know when you ever had any chicken without any salt. I don't know when you had a tomato without some salt. I'm just telling you that when you cried those tears, there's salt in it. Salt in it that will bless the next experience of your life. And that's what I'm just telling you. If you're going to have a different experience in you, you're going to have to define life's events. Here's the second thing. Choose the measure of difficulty that you will assign to every encounter. Choose the measure of difficulty. See, remember Caleb said, yeah, there are giants in the land, but we are well able to overcome it. Just a piece of cake. The bigger they are, the harder they fall. That was his perspective. We are well able. Other folk talking about, we're grasshopper, man. These are giant, man. They're going to pulverize us. They're going to smash us under their feet. He says, they're too big for us to miss if we shoot. Choose the measure of difficulty that you will assign every encounter. You want to have a different spirit? Choose the measure of difficulty that you will assign every encounter. Man, how am I supposed to do this? Figure it out. Choose the measure of difficulty that with God's help, all things are possible to him that believes. You choose the measure of difficulty. God can take what David had. How many stones? 5 stones. How many did he need? 1 stone. God said, piece of cake. He's a giant. It's too big to miss. Choose the measure of difficulty that you will assign every encounter. And then, number 3, choose a lifestyle of faithfulness. That's what made a difference. That gave him a different spirit. Tony Robbins says, it's not what you do once in a while that shapes our lives. It's what you do consistently. Choose a lifestyle of faithfulness. It's not what you do once in a while that shapes our lives. It's what we do consistently. It's what we do consistently. Because excellence is a habit. And I want to encourage you. Always have a dream so big that you must grow into the person who can accomplish it with God's help. Always have a dream so big that you must grow into the person who can accomplish it with God's help. If you can accomplish your dream right now all by yourself with everything that you already have, your dream isn't big enough. It needs to cause you to grow, But Caleb had a different attitude. He had a different attitude. An attitude is a frame of mind. Attitude, it literally means frame of mind. God himself said that Caleb had a different spirit. Numbers chapter 14, verse 24. Notice this. But because my servant Caleb has a different spirit, he's not an average Joe who stops in the middle of the rock, but he follows me wholeheartedly. God said Caleb followed him wholeheartedly. He says, I will bring him into the land he went to, and his descendants will inherit it. I will bring him into it, and his descendant will inherit it, because he's got a different spirit in him. And you have to realize that the man who moves a mountain, Confucius said, it begins carrying away small stones. If you're going to move a mountain, just begin with carrying away small stones. But I want to help us to dissect just a little bit the type of man that Caleb was. Caleb was a man of vision. He saw the land as the possession of God's people. Secondly, he was a man of faith. Numbers chapter 13, verse 30. Numbers chapter 14, verse 9. He was a man of faith. Number 3, he was a man of perseverance. He waited for 45 years for his promise. That's good persevering. He was a man of encouragement. He encouraged others that they could do it because God was with him. We're well able. He was a man of encouragement. Number 5, he was a man of loyalty. Loyalty. Joshua chapter 14, verse 6 through 13. Number 6, he was a man of war. Joshua chapter 14, verse 10 through 12. He's a man of war. He says, I can fight just as well at 85 as I could fight at 40. And then number 7, he was a man of blessing. He was a man of blessing. Joshua chapter 15, verse 13 through 19. He had taken this choice land and then given the choice springs, he blessed another woman with them. He was a giver. He was a blessing. These are the things that just help you to understand the kind of person that he was. And when we inherit the promises of God, we inherit them through faith and patience. Notice what the Bible says. Hebrews chapter 6, verse 10 through 12 in the Contemporary English Bible. God is always fair. He will remember how you helped his people in the past and how you are still helping them. You belong to God, and he won't forget the love that you've shown his people. We wish that each of you would always be eager to show how strong and lasting your hope really is. Then you would never be lazy. You would be following the example of those who had faith and were patient until God kept his promise to them. You inherit the promises through faith and patience. And let me give you quickly 9 things to conquer your mountain. 9 things to conquer your mountain. Number 1, look to God for strength, strategy, and stamina. Look to God. Look to God. Look to God for strength, strategy, and stamina. Look to God. The Lord is my rock. The Lord is my strength. God is our wisdom. Number 2, pursue goals that scare you. Be bold, not arrogant. Be bold, not arrogant. Number 3, believe that everything can and will work in your favor. Believe that everything can and will work in your favor. Number 4, surround yourself with a team of people who make you better. Surround yourself with a team of people who make you better. Surround yourself with people that make you better. You've got to have people that make you better. Talent needs a team in order to be terrific. Surround yourself with a team of people who make you better. Number 5, pace yourself for the journey. Pace yourself. It took this man 45 years. Pace yourself. Not race yourself. Pace yourself. Pace yourself for the journey. Number 6, stop and record the lessons that you learned during the climb. Stop and record the lessons that you learned during the climb. Because some of them you're going to slip. Sometimes you lose ground. And you learn things. You slip. You make mistakes. You get hurt sometimes climbing a mountain. And you lose ground. But stop and record the lessons that you learned during the climb. Number 7, pause at new heights and let the view refresh and empower you. You got to learn while you're climbing to just stop. Celebrate the distance that you've already come. You haven't reached the top yet. You don't have to wait to the top to celebrate. Just say, you know what? We had a good day of climbing today. Good day of climbing. This has been a good year of climbing. We've had some setbacks, but we's here. We's here. We're not there yet, but we's here. Celebrate where you are. Number 8, employ the lessons you learned in the valley to help you climb the mountain. Employ the lessons that you learned in the valley to help you climb the mountain. You learned some great lessons in the valley. And those lessons that you learned in the valley, you apply to the mountain. And number 9, you express gratitude for the distance you've already traveled. A heart of gratitude. Lord, I thank you for my journey. It hadn't been easy, but Jesus, thank you. Thank you, Lord. Thank you that you brought me a mighty long way. You brought me a lot. Thank him for the journey. Thank him, God, that you helped me through to see another day. Thank you for the journey that I'm not reached there yet, but I'm on my way. I'm on my way. I'm on my way. Give me my mountain. I pray that you got something out of the word of the Lord today. I really do.
We hope that you enjoyed that message. Don't forget to like and subscribe and then press the notification bell so that you don't miss another one of our videos. And if you want to partner with us, click the Give Now button. Thank you for what you do.